All right, guys, let's talk about the biggest wild card in the 2026 NBA draft. And honestly, he is one of the biggest wild cards that we have seen in quite some time. I am talking about Jayden Quaintance. He plays for the University of Kentucky. He is a defensive monster, one of the youngest players in the upcoming draft, an 18-year-old sophomore, and he somehow manages to be both a top 10 talent and a complete medical mystery at the same time.
Welcome everybody, my name is Troy and this is the Half Court Report. Be sure you click that thumbs up button and subscribe for some of the best NBA content that you're going to find on YouTube.
So on paper, you look at this guy and think he could be the next Anthony Davis. He's a top 10, maybe even top 5 talent, but at the same time, he is a complete mystery. Jayden Quaintance is basically the basketball version of a used Tesla. You know, it's valuable, you know, it's special, but you're also asking, hey, has the battery ever caught fire on this thing? That's what you're getting with JQ. As I mentioned in my intro, he's young. He reclassified early by playing at Arizona State at 17 years old his freshman year. He still made the Big 12 all-defense team. I mean, come on, guys. At 17, I was still learning how to parallel park and memorizing lines from Julius Caesar for my high school Shakespeare class. Jake Way was blocking. He's 6'10", 255 pounds, long arms, huge frame, quick feet. Basically a guy who can guard, I think, positions 1 through 5. But this season at Kentucky, man, it has been a roller coaster for Jayden Quaintance. And not the fun kind of roller coaster. He tried to come back early from a torn ACL that he suffered late in his freshman year at Arizona State. He played 4 games with mixed results, and he has been out since. In that time, though, he did give us the full spectrum. Game 1 against St. John's, he looked like he'd been shot out of a cannon. 10 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks in 17 minutes. He bullied the opposing team. He moved like he'd never heard the word injury before. Everyone watching was like, okay, we are back. Kentucky basketball is so back. But the next 3 games, well, it was a different story. Quaintance looked like a guy who was coming back from a torn ACL. He was slower. He was hesitant. He didn't have the same pop. And then Kentucky shut him down again, and we have not seen him since. Now, there have been rumblings that he will return in time for the NCAA tournament, but that is not a definite. So as of right now, what we have to go on for this year is those 4 games that he played for Kentucky, which were, by all accounts, fairly underwhelming. And that's why he is the ultimate draft wild card. His range is basically top 10 to somewhere in the 20s, depending entirely on what the medicals say. But here is why teams are still drooling over him. The defense is real. He's got that rare combination of rim protection and perimeter mobility. He blocks shots like a madman. He has the wingspan of someone who should legally be required to register his arms as aircraft. And the offensive flashes, well, that's where the upside gets fun. Maybe he'll take a 3. He'll put the ball on the floor. He'll make a slick pass. And you're like,
wait, how old is this kid again?
He's not polished, but the ingredients are there. And this is where the player comps really start to paint the picture. He could be Bam Adebayo. He's got the switchability, the defensive IQ, the playmaking flashes. JQ has some of that Bam DNA. He could be Robert Williams III with those shot-blocking instincts and the vertical pop, the ability to erase mistakes behind the defense. That's very Time Lord-esque. You just hope he's able to overcome the injuries that Robert Williams III has been unable to shake. Could he be Jaren Jackson Jr.? Now, Quaintance isn't quite the shooter that Jackson is, at least not yet, but the weak side rim protection, the timing, the ability to cover ground as a roamer, that's where the comparison makes sense. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the blueprint for the modern defensive big, and Quaintance has some of those tools. There's even some Isaiah Stewart in his game. Stewart brings the physicality, the motor, the toughness. Now imagine that with more length, more pop, more defensive versatility. That is Jayden Quaintance. So yeah, he's somewhere in that ecosystem. A modern defensive big with real upside if the offense comes along. And that's going to ultimately determine if Quaintance is the next Anthony Davis or a backup energy big man. So I think the draft combine is going to be huge for JQ. Teams are going to want to know, is the knee stable? Has he regained his mobility? They're going to want to know what is his actual wingspan. And spoiler alert, it would not surprise me if that wingspan is north of 7'5". Teams are going to wonder, did he actually grow an inch or two like Kentucky claims? Is he a legit 6'11" in shoes? Can JQ shoot consistently in workouts? If he checks those boxes, he is right back in the top 10 conversation. And speaking of the draft, let's look at some team fits because this is where it gets really exciting. First off, Oklahoma City. They are an obvious pick for his services. They love teenagers with upside. They love long defenders. They love redshirting guys and letting them take a year to soak it all in on the bench and street clothes. That is basically their kink, okay? The Toronto Raptors make some sense too. They collect wingspans like they're running a clearance sale on arms, and Quaintance fits their positionless chaos philosophy perfectly. The Houston Rockets, I think they could turn Quaintance into a defensive monster under Ime Udoka, and they have the patience to develop him. Just imagine Amen Thompson and Jayden Quaintance. Good luck trying to score on that. And what about the Charlotte Hornets? They are showing that they are a serious threat in the NBA. With LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Con Knippel, and Miles Bridges, Quaintance could literally be the missing piece for them. He would get minutes early, and he would grow with their young core. So here's the final takeaway on Jayden Quaintance. Yes, he is the wild card of the 2026 NBA Draft. Yes, he could be a franchise-changing defensive anchor. Or he could be a long-term project. He could be a top 10 steal. He could be one of those players where in a couple years we think, why did my team pass on him? Or he could slide because teams get nervous about that knee. They get nervous about his injury history. But the combination of age, size, tools, and flashes, that is the kind of bet NBA teams love to make. If he hits, he is going to hit big. And if he doesn't, well, he's still younger than half the rookies in this class. Guys, let me know what you think about Jayden Quaintance. Where do you have him on your draft board? Would you take the risk and draft him in the lottery? Since you've watched this far, make sure you drop a like for the YouTube algorithm. Hit that subscribe button too so you never miss another NBA video from me. Coming at you with fresh NBA content several times a week. Recently, I did a scouting report on Adebayo. Now, he is a big man for the University of Michigan. 7'3". Could he be the next NBA unicorn? Check out the video. Let me know what you think. Don't be a casual in basketball or in life, and I'll catch you next time on the Half Court Report.